Hello, welcome to the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast, where it is all about helping amazing physicians just like you create a wealthy life free from burnout and with the financial security to practice medicine on your own terms. I'm your host, Dr. Elisa Chiang. Thank you for joining me for another episode of the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. This week's topic is retirement calculators. The goal of retirement calculators is to help you answer three questions. How much do I need to save and invest for retirement? How much money do I need in my retirement portfolio to retire? And how much can I realistically expect to spend once I'm retired? If you do a Google search for retirement calculator, you'll find no shortage of free retirement calculators online. Many are at websites of online brokerages, including familiar names like Vanguard, Fidelity, and Charles Schwab. They are also available on financially oriented websites like nerdwallet.com, smartasset.com, and bankrate.com. You can also find retirement calculators at calculator.net. These financial calculators have a various range of personalization. They typically ask your age, your current income, your planned retirement age, your current retirement savings, your contributions toward retirement, and how much you plan to spend in retirement. For that last variable, many retirement calculators will ask what percentage of your current income you think you'll need in retirement. Another common question is how much supplemental income, if any, you plan to receive each year in retirement. This could include Social Security. Some calculators will include Social Security payouts based on your current income and age when you plan to retire, while others ask specific questions regarding Social Security. Many advanced calculators will allow you to adjust for different retirement ages, life expectancy, or how long you want the portfolio to last. You may also be able to adjust the rate of return on your portfolio or actually specify what your portfolio is invested in. The inflation rate may also be something that you can adjust. When I Googled retirement calculators, the first result returned was Vanguard. If you go to Vanguard's retirement calculator, it asks for you to write your retirement story and fill in the blanks. I'm X years old and plan to retire at X age. I make X a year and save X dollars or X percent of my income annually for retirement. I have already saved X dollars for retirement, and I think I'll need X percent of my current income in retirement. I expect a return of X percent from my retirement savings. If you click on current income, a pop-up box comes up that instructs you to enter the percentage of your current income you think you'll need in retirement. You can enter any value up to 150%. Most replacement ratios fall between 70 to 85%. The default annual rate of return used is 5%. Once you submit your retirement story, the next webpage will tell you, based on the information you provide, when you retire at age X, you may have a retirement savings balance of X dollars. Your estimated monthly expenses are X dollars, and you can expect a monthly income of X dollars in retirement. They show a bar graph of how much you may have in retirement and how much you need. You can click on a link to learn how they made the calculation. A pop-up window will appear talking about the 4% rule and adjusting for 3% annual inflation. Vanguard's calculator is easy to use with only 7 data entries on one page. You can easily change your entries and recalculate. Charles Schwab asked for similar information with straightforward questions. Instead of a rate of return for investing, it asks you to classify how conservative or aggressively you're invested with sample asset allocations. For results, they show a bar graph of savings needed and total savings expected. If there is a potential shortfall, it gives you some recommendations of actions you could take to get on track, like changing your retirement age, increasing your retirement contributions, or reducing your spending in retirement with the specific amount specified for your situation. There are also sliders that let you easily adjust your retirement age, contributions, and spending, and then recalculate the results. You can also start over and try out different scenarios. If you go to Fidelity's retirement calculator, it asks only 4 questions. The age you want to start withdrawals, expected retirement savings, Social Security per month, and pension per month. Then it tells you your expected retirement income from those numbers. It also allows you to use sliders to adjust for 3 more variables that start out at default settings. Above each slider is a question. What if your savings lasted through this age? Is the first slider, and basically asking how long you want your portfolio to last for. The default is set to 94 years. The second slider asks the question, what if some of your savings were put toward an annuity with the default answer of 0? The third slider lets you choose your asset allocation for what percentage of your portfolio is in stocks with a default of 50%. If you have a Fidelity account, you can log in for a much more personalized plan that asks a lot more questions and which also takes more factors, like taxes, into account. When it comes to estimating expenses for retirement, you have 3 options for different levels of customization. You can use Fidelity's basic estimate for planning for expenses during retirement, give your own estimated monthly expenses, or submit detailed expenses. Fidelity will use your current accounts at Fidelity, and you can select which ones you want them to use in order to look at what your investments are. You can also add outside investment accounts, but there's no way for you to just give that information manually. I find this potentially nefarious since I see the possibility that if you enter in outside accounts, you may find yourself the target of Fidelity marketing to get you to switch those accounts over to Fidelity. But that is the cynical side of me. However, I think there may be a grain of truth to that. You can also add in other income sources in retirement. Your reward for entering much more data compared to other retirement calculators are more results. Fidelity will present different projections for what you've saved in retirement each year until you retire, depending on market returns that can be displayed in a graph or table. It will also show you your expected monthly and annual income, along with expenses in retirement to give you an idea of your cash flow. While there's more data to enter for Fidelity's calculator, data input is step-by-step with easy instructions, and there's no complex data needed. It also stands out in that it accounts for taxes. Arguably, a retirement calculator on a brokerage site could be looked at as biased. After all, it is in their best interest to get you to invest more, and hopefully with them. Still, math is math, and if you choose all the inputs, the results presented should not be skewed. Where I see a potential for bias might be the default numbers that they place in their calculator, but you should be able to change these numbers. What about the calculator at non-brokerage sites? I found the retirement calculators at nerdwallet.com and bankrate.com were similar to Vanguard and Charles Schwab. They asked similar questions and were easy to use. Nerdwallet.com asked for 6 data points with the option to specify an additional 6 data points. It lets you know how much you'll have by the time you plan to retire and how much you'll need. If you have a shortfall, it states what monthly contribution will get you towards your goal. It also lets you know when your retirement savings will run out, both with your current savings rate and with the suggested savings rate. The information is displayed in a chart and a graph. You can also click on a link to see how the retirement calculator works and what assumptions are made by nerdwallet.com. Bankrate.com asks for 8 data inputs with an additional optional 5 data inputs. The data input and results are all on one web page. The results start with at what age your retirement savings will run out, given your saving plan and projected spending. It then states how much you'll need to save to retire with your current plan and how much you'll have to spend each year with your inflation-adjusted dollars. A graph displaying the amount you have in savings and expenses from your current age to age 100 is displayed. The calculator found on smartasset.com gave more ability to customize the information for your personal situation, similar to Fidelity's advanced calculator, but without actually looking at any current investment accounts. Instead, you input the value of your 401k, 403b, or 457b, and your IRA or Roth IRA. Unfortunately, there's no option for Roth 401k or Roth 403b, and you can only select one account type for employer-sponsored account or between IRA and Roth IRA. Since there's really not much difference between a 401k, 403b, or traditional IRA in terms of how withdrawals are treated past age 55 and a half, Probably the best way to enter the information is to add up the value of all your investments in these tax-deferred retirement accounts and put that information in the 401k. Then for any Roth retirement accounts you have, whether it's a Roth 401k, Roth 403b, or Roth IRA, add up the value of all your Roth retirement accounts and put that number in the data entry for Roth IRA. The Smart Asset Calculator also allows you to specify if you're single or married and put in information for your spouse. The calculator is all on one page with the data inputs on the left side and the results on the right, allowing you to easily see your inputs with your results, make adjustments, and recalculate. The calculator assumes a retirement age of 65, but on the left-hand side, the side with the results, you can change the age of retirement. The results are clear, starting with whether you're on track to meet your retirement goals or how much you need to save each month to meet your estimated spending in retirement. It displays how much annual post-tax income you'll have in retirement and how much you'll need to support the spending level you indicated. The numbers presented are inflation adjusted with the rate of inflation specified. A graph shows your projected retirement savings over time. Calculator.net has multiple different calculators to help you plan for retirement, all presented on the same webpage. The first is similar to Vanguard and Charles Schwab, but with a little bit more customization. It asks for current age, planned retirement age, life expectancy, and pre-tax income. It allows you to accept their default assumptions or put in your own values for how much your current income is expected to increase each year, how much income you'll need after retirement, your average investment return, and the inflation rate. You can also enter in any income after retirement, including Social Security or pensions. There's space to input your current retirement savings, as well as how much you plan to contribute in future years. The results show what size portfolio you'll need for retirement and what you'll have given the information you've provided. If you have a shortfall, it will suggest how much you need to save and invest towards retirement to provide a portfolio that could provide for your retirement spending. There's another calculator they offer that calculates how much to save and invest per month or year until retirement to meet your retirement goal. You can also calculate how much you can withdraw after retirement, given your current savings and future planned contributions. A fourth retirement calculator lets you know how long your money will last after you input how much you have now, how much you plan to withdraw, and your anticipated investment return. For this calculator, it uses the investment return as a static number each year and doesn't account for the actual ups and downs in the market. For this reason, I don't see this calculator as being all that accurate or useful. One thing Calculator.net does do well is explain all the assumptions it's using. There are plenty of other retirement calculators out there, but this selection gives a good range of traditional retirement calculators that are free to use on the internet. I don't think there's one best calculator, as your life situation and numbers will change over time, and any calculator is only as good as the inputs it's given. Some of these inputs are assumptions made by the calculator, with the possibility that we can adjust the default value. Other assumptions we're making, like how much we think we'll spend in retirement. Let's talk a little bit more about the assumptions used in these calculators. The different calculators give different amounts of detail regarding the default assumptions and how they made their calculations. The simpler calculators made more assumptions with the option to adjust the default value. The main assumptions are the rate of inflation, how your portfolio growth is calculated, and the amount you can withdraw from your portfolio if you choose the amount to withdraw. Most calculators will include the effect of inflation, and 3% seems to be the most common value used for annual inflation. While the Federal Reserve aims for a 3% inflation rate in the United States by controlling interest rates, there are certainly times when the rate of inflation has been significantly higher. While some calculators allow you to change the rate of inflation, none of the calculators I've talked about so far have a way to adjust inflation going up and down over time. How do these calculators determine the rate of growth of your portfolio? Some use a fixed rate compounded annually, which is more likely true in calculators that allow you to input the rate of growth. Of course, the average return of a portfolio is not the actual return year by year. Your portfolio may go up 5% after year one and then 15% after year two to average 10%. But that would give a different return than if you had 2 years where your portfolio went up 10% each year. If you use real numbers, you can see the difference. If you have $100,000 that goes up 5% in year one, then you'll have $105,000. If it then goes up 15% in year two, the value will be $120,750 after the second year. In the case where the $100,000 goes up 10% in year one and in year two, after the first year, it will be worth $110,000. And then after year two, the value will be $121,000, which is $250 more than $120,750. And yet the average return in both cases is 10%. 5% and 15% average at 10%, and then 10% and 10% also average at 10%. Other calculators will use some sort of Monte Carlo simulation, which tests different scenarios based on the investment strategy you inputted into the calculator. Monte Carlo techniques can range from simulating actual historical returns or semi-random hypothetical future market scenarios. The Vanguard calculator uses the 4% rule to determine the safe amount you can withdraw from your portfolio. Fidelity's simple calculator appears to use a 4.2% withdrawal rate. SmartAsset.com doesn't specify how it determines how much annual income from your retirement portfolio is generated by your input of current value and future contributions. Most other calculators allow you to specify how much you plan to spend and let you know if and when your portfolio balance reaches zero. While there are some calculators that also consider taxes during retirement, most of the calculators appear to assume that all expenses modeled are pre-tax, with the current income entered as a pre-tax amount and the retirement portfolio providing a pre-tax income replacement. This is important to know because it's important to specify how much pre-tax income you want to spend in retirement and not how much post-tax spending power you want. These retirement calculators are working on the assumption that people think about their pre-tax salary, which they currently live on, and that in retirement, they're looking to have a similar salary to continue to live on. Because in retirement, people no longer need to contribute to their retirement portfolio, the assumption is that they should be able to live on less than their pre-retirement income. The other assumption made is that many retirement portfolios will be, at least in part, invested in traditional retirement accounts where ordinary income taxes will be paid on withdrawal. The most sophisticated tools separate traditional and Roth accounts, but don't allow you to specify whether your future contributions will be in a traditional account or a Roth account. When entering how much you plan to spend in retirement in these calculators, you need to include federal, state, and local income taxes from the money withdrawn from the traditional retirement account or money received from Social Security as an expense. You do not need to account for contributions to Medicare or Social Security like you do for your W-2 or 1099 income. The bottom line is that any of these calculators can help you determine how much to contribute each month or year to build a retirement portfolio consisting of stocks and bonds. The results will always be an estimate, and it's important to check in over time to see if you're on track. Many physicians will find it hard to be on track during their early attending years. That's why it's so important to learn about finances early and put a plan into action. However, it's never too late to start. Just don't keep pushing it off for later. Next week, I'll talk about a different type of calculator to help with retirement planning and further elaborate on Monte Carlo simulations. If you would like my help putting together your financial plan, you can set up a Zoom meeting with me at www.growyourwealthymindset.com. If you have any specific questions, you can email me at growyourwealthymindset@gmail.com. You, or possibly your spouse, are the CFO of your household, and there will come a day where you'll want to transition towards working less or not at all from your current occupation. I define a job as what you do to have income to pay for your living expenses. Unless you have a pension that will meet all your income needs, your job in retirement is managing your investments. The sooner you get started managing your money, the better investor you'll be when it's your only job. Thank you so much for being a listener of the Grow Your Wealthy Mindset podcast. Please share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. Help me reach more people so we can have more financially savvy physicians and professionals. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could share it with your friends and colleagues. And now for the disclaimer. I am not a certified financial planner, accountant, or attorney, and nothing I say should be construed as professional investment, tax, or legal advice. This show is primarily for your education and entertainment. I am a physician, but I'm probably not your physician. So if you need any medical advice, please contact your own physician. Thank you.